Okay, hello everyone. I have got another HIREside chat today. Can't say it this afternoon. It's too sunny and I'm thinking about being outside with a beer, I think. But I am absolutely delighted to have someone I used to work with actually, and someone that helped me loads in my career, Ruth Jackson. I won't steal her thunder at all, so I'm going to quickly fire over to her just to say who she is and what she does. But I know she's one of those people that when you think about hospitality, you think about Ruth. So I'm really delighted to have her here today. So Ruth, who are you? What do you do for a living? Tell us about it.
It sounded like you were introducing Blind Date with who are you and where do you come from, Sam? Thanks very much for that intro. So yeah, I'm Ruth Jackson. I am currently People Director for Zizzi Restaurants. But that's been the job for the last sort of 18 months. Prior to that, People Director at Coat for a couple of years, which was a fabulous time. And you and I worked together back in our Whitbread days, where I was for pretty much all of my career prior to that. Starting in operations as a barmaid when I was a student, working my way through operations and then into HR sort of 10-ish years ago.
Wowza. So you're one of these people. I remember when I first met you, you were like this wealth of knowledge because you'd just grown up through the business and you, like, as you said, had jumped from operations then into HR and then you were on like the second or third HR role and then jumping into something else. I guess hospitality is something you are clearly passionate about. When you talk to you, like you can feel it. Like, what drives that passion? What is it that you love so much about hospitality?
Oh, crikey. So many things, I suppose. I suppose partly because of my background. I think so I wanted to be a doctor. I wanted to be a surgeon. So I was at university, as it happens, actually doing a degree in human biology. So cutting up dead bodies and learning biology of a human being. Because
still involves people, I guess.
Yeah, people, still a people connection. They just were dead. But I think the reason I got into hospitality, and as you do, getting a job while you're a student, and I was actually quite shy, believe it or not. And I think working in the pub, the first thing it did for me was really sort of bring me out of myself. And I think I, at that point, then sort of found this love for like being around lots of people and just the chats. It's quite a traditional sort of local pub, really, as well as being on a student drag. So we had a lot of regulars, you could have a lot of fun at work. And going to work was just basically like going out, but without actually getting paid to be out, as opposed to drinking and spending all your money as a student.
Yeah.
So I think that was what started it. And then, I didn't end up becoming a doctor, clearly, and I didn't do medicine for various reasons that we don't need to get into. But because I found my love for what I was doing and was enjoying it so much, as soon as I graduated, that was it. I went straight as an assistant manager to a bar restaurant, and it's hard work. No one's going to deny that. But I think you can enjoy, it doesn't matter if it's hard work if you really enjoy what you do. And I know it's a bit of a cliche, but I am described as a people person. I think that was why I wanted to do medicine originally. But what other job do you get to spend so much time with people? And meet so many different people, and then in operations you do that and you're involved in that day-to-day sort of fun, and then you get to go into HR where you get to do even more focus on the people stuff. So yeah. I think over the years, the things that have sort of driven me, I suppose, to sort of and why I love it so much is that coming out of ops, which I loved, but I did particularly like the people side of the ops. I didn't like some of the ops stuff. And I was never the best operator in the world, but I was okay. But I got to go into HR, and I think you then get to do the people stuff where you get to really help people be the best they can be and let people flourish and help them find their careers. And I think because I sort of fallen into it, but found this career that allowed me to really flourish, I was like, I want everyone else to get that same opportunity. So how do you sort of help people do that? And then, how do you make sure they're happy at work? Because let's face it, we all spend quite a lot of time at work and you want it to be fun. And everyone's going to have bad days or difficult days, but on the whole, it's got to be enjoyable. So how do you make sure it's a good environment to work in? How do you make sure it is fun, that people feel rewarded and recognised and supported and valued? How do you recruit the right? I mean, you just get into the world of HR, and it's just so interesting, isn't it? And I think that's a bit of my sort of slightly in the background now, scientific sort of mind that just finds it fascinating what makes people tick.
It's almost like you're using some of that medical stuff that you studied all the way back then and then applying it into the HR world.
I don't remember anything, so don't quiz me anything like that.
And this is where we have the medicine test.
It was a long time ago. But I think over the years, as I've sort of, developed myself and learnt a lot, got things wrong and figured it out as I go along. So I think the other thing is, for me, I've got no HR qualifications. So sometimes I'm a little bit like, well, I'll try this, shall I? But I think, as long as you sort of trust that and go with it and sort of go with your values of looking after people and doing the right thing by people, you can't go too far wrong, hopefully.
Yeah, that's so interesting. Like, I didn't know that about you. You got no HR qualifications?
None whatsoever.
Wow. So have you ever found that a challenge, or have you have you ever thought about getting HR qualifications, or has it just been something that you've never needed?
I think so. I've always had conversations with people that you'll know who were senior to us, who we worked for, about should I go and get some? And I was always sort of told, you know what, Ruth, your operational background gives you some savviness almost and some understanding of what it is that we're trying to do. Clearly, I've only ever worked in hospitality. You do a lot of HR stuff as an operator, so you sort of learn it anyway. Then I got the opportunity to specialise in quite a few different things. So I did a stint as a resourcer and a recruiter. Yeah. I did a stint in some generalist HR business partnering in the hotels, and then I did a stint of sort of specialism again with comms and engagement.
Yeah.
Before I went off and sort of set myself free from Whitbread and moved into a slightly different world. But so I don't think it's held me back. But there are times when I wonder whether it'd be useful, and I've looked into it. But I think I've always been, hospitality is a busy place to be. And I've got other things that I'm sort of passionate about outside of work that are really important. So I want to be able to put 100% into work, and I can learn, and I just make sure that I'm not afraid to ask for help. Yeah. So I'm not afraid to ask the questions. I think I'm quite good at making sure I've got a network around me. So if I'm not sure about something, I can go and ask, because like I said, I'm not too proud to do so. And I actually quite enjoy learning. So I don't mind sort of digging into stuff myself and trying to figure something out and then going with it. So now it's coming back, it's just been an interesting sort of time when you sort of realise that actually I've got no qualifications in it.
But and that's probably, that'll be really refreshing for someone who's now a people director and has had a couple of people director roles. Actually, that you don't need this thing on a piece of paper. Actually, what you were talking about, that commercial acumen you develop through ops, just the willingness to learn and to ask for support and help, and have that curiosity is kind of all you need, right? It's
and the right values, well, all values are right, I would hope on the whole, but my values, I think, in terms of wanting to do right by people, I'm very much an MBTI F, I'm very much a J, but I'm very much sort of, about the empathy and about that sort of support. So I think those guide me a little bit, but then I make sure that, like I say, the people around me, are the people that are going to challenge that. So I try not, don't want to sort of get down a hole with something. It's about being quite rounded as well. So having the right people around you is really important.
Yeah, definitely. And you touched on stuff outside of work. What do you create time for?
Exercise is the main one. You're smiling knowingly because you know this already about it. So I didn't discover my love of this till, gosh, was I still in ops? Maybe. Yes, I was still in ops. I was just about still in ops, and I'd sort of had I always said I had no time for exercise. I was too busy running around the country. Ops manager took roles and stuff, and then was moaning that wasn't doing me any favours. And then I got into it, and I haven't stopped since, really. And now that's sort of it's my release. It's my thinking time. I have the best ideas usually in body combat. When you're pretending to kick and punch something is when you sort of solve a problem in your head, and it's something like a light bulb moment of thinking time, ironically. It's a great stress relief just when you had a long day or a long week. Yeah. If I can get there every day, I mean, obviously things are different at the minute, but getting to the gym every night is sort of my priority once I've got the work done. I have to sort of really plan it in the normal world when we're normally out and about, unlike now. But And I get very irritated if I think I'm going to make it and then something happens and I can't get there. So when if the train lets me down or something like that,
oh, I know that feeling.
I'm probably not a nice person to be around at that point. But I just think you've got to fight. You've got to have your thing.
Yeah.
You know, obviously I've got home and I've got my family and friends and my fiance, and you know, and all of that's really, really important. But for me personally, it's the gym, it's the exercise classes, it's my community there as well, because really diverse group of people that I go to the gym with. It's local council, leisure trust, you know, council funded gym, and we're just a massively different group of people, but all lovely, and it's a real social element as well. So you get the endorphins from the exercise, you get the sociability and the fun of it. Which
and then you can go for a glass of wine after body combat.
Exactly. Yeah. You know, lift some weights with your friends in body pump, and then and it's just created a whole sort of social side to my life outside of just my work and my close friends. So different people, things that we do together. So there is these days that you can go on that are like all day fitness events, and a group of us will go, or we'll go and do a Tough Mudder type event, a rough runner type thing, go together, and it's just really nice way out. But importantly, I think I sleep better, I feel better, and I think better, and that's really from a work perspective.
Which then, as you say, helps you at work, even though it's not directly linked to work as such. You're I guess you're set up.
Yeah.
You're your best version of yourself when you get to do those things, right?
I hope so.
Yeah, I'm sure.
I definitely feel like it gives me the answers to difficult problems sometimes, or they're just that, or not even difficult problems, just things that you've just got a bit stuck on. You're like, I can't see my way around this. Go and do a class, or go and do a bit of exercise, and suddenly it sort of becomes a bit clearer again.
Yeah, no, that it's it like everyone. You're right. Everyone has their thing, and it's super interesting that is your thing. So if we see you sweating in the gym, it's probably that you're trying to save some awesome problem about labor turnover or something.
Something about, and do you know what though? Joking apart, I think what it's also given me is a real, like, sort of segue back to the work thing, but really passionate about the whole well-being, mental health piece.
Okay.
You know, the sort of how to be your best self, realistically, I suppose. You know, how do you sort of have that right balance of well-being and mental health as well as physical health? Yeah. Clearly exercise gives you hopefully some physical health as well. So I've been lucky enough to sort of get involved with a couple of things, to sort of mad world engagement type stuff, and getting involved in some I mean, we're using an engagement platform. I'm not here to advertise anything, but you know, I get to work with those guys on some of the stuff around engagement, what's important for people. And I think exercise is mine, but there's lots of different things that are important, and how do you sort of help, I suppose, people balance that with work, or bring elements of that to work. So I like to get involved with it like that, and I actually ended up then volunteering. So I'm also on the board for our leisure trust that runs the gyms I use.
Oh,
so I'm
wow.
for those guys now, because it's a charitable trust, so they have to have a board of trustees, and that's really interesting because that's exposed me into because it's a charity board, but with funding from the local council. So it's a whole different dynamic that I've never come across, never worked in before. So that's helping me learn about something different as well. But I'm volunteering, so I'm giving something back there, hopefully a little bit.
And are you using your people expertise to do that?
And I think, I mean, I was interviewed for the role of trustee, and I think the thing that they told me that they were interested in about me was obviously the background that I've got in terms of ops and HR, and the HR in particular, to give some balance to their board, because, you know, the people on the board are from different, I think we've got someone from finance, we've got somebody in property, we've got somebody who's from the council, things like that. And then you've got me who's in the sort of HR hospitality world, which is quite different, but has some synergies clearly.
Yeah, and I can only imagine it's so lovely to support something that has given you so much, and something that you're really passionate about clearly, and bring something that is a bit of your expertise to help take that forward.
Exactly. So, I mean, you know, it's a bit slightly selfish to apply and to go for it because I love it, but so that I could be involved a little bit more of something that I really find so powerful and so important to my world.
And have you managed to keep your exercise up during lockdown?
Yeah, just in a different way, isn't it? So like I said, I mean, part of it for me is going to the class and the sociability of that. And we've got such a lovely group of people, but we've got our own little Facebook group, you know, SLT are doing their Facebook stuff. You know, a lot of the instructors are totally voluntarily, totally for free, teaching online Facebook Live classes, so I get it on the telly in the kitchen, and I can do it in there. Luckily enough, my other half is into the weights and stuff as well. So we've got weights, we've got a barbell, we had them already. We didn't have to fight to buy any. So I've been able to get my Les Mills on demand and do my body pump and stuff in the front room as well. So I've not really missed out. I just missed that. It's different doing a class with lots of people around you to doing it on your own at home. But because we're talking on Facebook or in our WhatsApp group, we're still all in touch, and we do. My gym group does a weekly quiz.
Nice.
Instructor, she's set up, and she only lives nearby, so she'll come and stand on the pavement, and I'll stand at the front door, distant, and we say hello each week or whatever. So just been another, like your friends, your community around you, really.
It's another community.
And I got a bike. I made sure I bought a bike so I can get out in the
I think cycling is something that the whole world is taking up at the moment.
It was great in the early days of the lockdown, though. The roads are so quiet, and I live in Birmingham, as you know.
Yeah.
So, and I live near to quite a busy road in Birmingham, so I never would have dreamt of getting on my bike on the Hagley Road.
Yeah.
But in the early days of lockdown, not so much now. It was so quiet out there, especially when we used to go. We'd go at 7 o'clock in the morning, 6:30 in the morning. I was thinking, this is just weird. You would never be cycling around here, at that time in the morning normally. But it's been quite lovely.
Yeah. Just jumping back to kind of the people world and HR world, I know you've done loads and loads of stuff kind of to help different types of people into work and help people with their careers and things like that. Can you just tell us a bit about that? I think people will be really interested to hear about it.
Yeah, okay. So it's probably going back a few years, actually, when that all started. So back in our days when we were doing Premier Inn and restaurants for Whitbread, especially in Premier Inn, I think we were, and driven by our leaders at the time, who were very passionate about it as well.
Yeah.
But we built some great connections with the likes of Prince's Trust, with Springboard, and the like, and sort of big hospitality conversations that were happening at the time and things like that. And it, very much about giving people the chance to experience and explore what the world of hospitality can do, explaining how powerfully great it can be as a career if you want to get into something and you want to grow and develop. Where else, I always say this, where else what other industry can you go, work your way up relatively quickly, and at a pretty young age be running your own business?
Yeah.
I'm running my own bar as a general manager a couple of years out of uni. There's not many places where you can do that sort of thing, and running your own P&L, managing your own team, all of that stuff. All right, there was a company that supported me, but to learn all those skills at such a young age and have the support to sort of be able to do that, there's not many places I think you can. So I think, so we are working with those sorts of business, those organisations was really good fun, because it was about either, helping people who are a bit more underprivileged, who didn't have the exposure to some of the things that maybe we've had, going to schools and colleges, talking to kids who maybe didn't know what they wanted to do, who maybe do come from more difficult backgrounds, who haven't been exposed to it, inspiring them hopefully a little bit into how much fun hospitality can be and how you can grow a career. Meeting young people, talking about the fact you can get qualifications. I think that was important as well, because again, not everyone is academically minded, not everybody want to go to university, and that's absolutely right. And people learn better on the job or learn by experience and doing things. And I think, sort of apprenticeships and qualifications that you can do to still get some qualifications, but more practically is really great as well. And I think our industry lends itself to that quite well. So it was just it's always been fascinating, I think, just to be able to, again, it's a bit cliched, I suppose, but being able to help people by doing that and hopefully inspiring them into something has been really enjoyable.
Yeah. And is it something that I suppose you're kind of now channeling some of that through into your supporting your gym trust?
Yeah.
Is it something that you do in your work as well today? Like, do you actively support that sort of thing?
I'm trying to. I've only been at Zizzi 18 months or so. I've got different, priorities and a strategy set out. But definitely, I think I love getting my nose stuck into the recruitment side of things when I get the chance and sort of talking about that. And I think, we've gone through a period of really high employment, been low level, really record low levels of unemployment for so long. It probably hasn't been as high on the agenda.
Yeah.
I think it would be interesting to see how that might change given current circumstances, and actually giving people a chance who maybe have never worked in our industry before, but showing them that actually this is a great place to come, transferable skills, come and enjoy it and learn things and progress your career working with us. I think we'll get more opportunity to do it again. But yeah, looking out for the chance to do it and talking to people about it, definitely.
Yeah, definitely. I guess you've talked like it's you can see where some of your passions come from, and I think like I can just imagine you running around the student bar, like paying, like I always say, paying for beers and books, because that's probably like you were probably trying to fuel whatever you were doing outside of the student bar at the time. But if you were to kind of speak to Ruth of back then and say, kind of, here's one piece of advice, knowing where you are now as a people director, kind of what would you tell Ruth of that student bar?
Thinking back to how I was then, I would tell me to have a bit more confidence, because don't forget, hospitality was what made me less shy, so it brought out some confidence in me. But that's definitely, in the last 20 something years, that's had to grow a lot more, and I just wish I'd maybe had a bit more of that confidence earlier on. And secondly, probably just to trust your gut instinct. Actually, as a people person, as a fairly empathetic sort of caring person, trust your gut and go with it. Have the confidence to trust your gut, I suppose, to link the two, because actually usually your gut instincts are proven right. And I think it's easy to talk yourself out of stuff. I would tell younger Ruth to be more confident, to trust yourself.
I think that's great advice. I think we will wrap up there, but I think it's just been awesome. I can feel the passion for our industry like radiating through the Zoom screen.
That's amazing.
But no, it's been awesome catching up with you, Ruth, and thank you for sharing your story with kind of the hire community as well. It's been ace.
You're welcome. It's been lovely to catch up with you.